perhaps 10 minutes you might have walking before you reach, if there's anything that you folks might like to say to each other.
I think Aranas is too far ahead to the others.
Sure, Aranas is power walking. He knows how to get through these woods.
He knows how to get here. He doesn't need to spend hours necessarily
That's
walking.
right.
This place is just crazy.
6 minutes later, he's back.
Yeah.
Geráck would basically say to the others that he likes this plan and thinks it's something we should do. We just have to convince Aranas.
And if the High Druid's allies drop you, then I think your armor would still protect you.
Somewhat. Although I would fall faster.
Well, make sure you land on one of the Lich King's forces.
Yes.
What would you call that? Sort of a high tier bombardment, dwarven bombardment. That'd be impressive.
Just think consider this for a moment.
Geráck just looks disapprovingly at Tempus.
Well, I mean, it's not as if I could throw you, but if I could, and Tempest looks, comedically quizzical in an attempt to get a rise out of Geráck.
I would think this would be for the best, though. With the sea, potentially removing the forces from the sea wall and allowing them to reinforce elsewhere. As well
and
as
that being a permanent change. That opens up a lot of coastline. It opens up potential colonial areas. Meanwhile, if we offer up those areas to the High Druid, such as the coastline of the... I've forgotten the name of it.
Seawall?
No, near Foghaven.
Mm.
The Cam Waters.
The Midland Sea.
Midland Sea, thank you. We could offer up those territories, while we could always take up the areas that are at the Iron Wall, the Iron Sea.
I doubt we have the authority to actually give those territories away, though.
No, but it will allow the Empire more tools to play with when trying to negotiate here.
Indeed.
Plus, was it a chance of reducing the power of the winter or removal of an entire force permanently, allowing more resources.
In addition, I believe a certain Thomas Tennell would be quite useful in the upcoming war.
Yes, indeed. If we free up the wall, then he will be able to join us. He will not have an excuse anymore.
Out of curiosity, Tempus, you knew this Thomas, did you not?
Yes, and Tempest just pauses for a moment. I wonder if he ever did go to his brother's wedding. And he sort of returns back to the conversation.
Do you believe what the others said about some great future?
He definitely has a great past, knowing from the stories I've heard. Those aren't stories that are for me to share. Those are stories for him to share when we eventually meet him. And I look forward to it. The guy had a noble heart, which is also the reason why he's not with us still, and he went out there.
I can certainly agree with that, after seeing him at the sea wall.
Yeah, difference in goals at the moment, and seeing as I'm the only remaining party member from those days, it would be nice to see him again. Well, remind me, I need to get a bottle of wine. It's a joke.
Sure. Well, it's just a matter of trying to get Aranas on our side.
I do believe that he is on our side. He is just in a rather awkward situation.
In this specific mission,
I believe he will. Just he may be a little bit overwhelmed with it all. After all, one of the prizes was a bit personal.
Indeed it was. He will still be among family, though.
Among the family, yes. Though I don't believe family he is too acquainted with.
That could change.
Yes, that might. I believe elven lifetimes aren't very long, after all.
Mm-hmm.
Aranas returns to the grove, first and foremost, quite a number of minutes ahead of the rest of the group. He'll find Astrid the marble golem, walking around the small area where you have made your encampment. Taraptus is nowhere to be seen, though smoke is curling out of the tent.
I'll walk up to the marble golem.
Marble golem stops, looks down, clearly recognizes Aranas.
Is Taraptus in the tent?
She nods.
I need to speak to him. I hope there's something he can help me with.
The golem says, you should be able to see him just fine.
I'll go and look into the tent.
Lord Taraptus is likely the equivalent of sulking. He is perhaps pouting, like sitting in a chair, like grumbling as he's packing more weed into like his pipe. He looks up. Oh, hello. Aranas, was it?
Marston says, yes. I know that we have not spoken much, but I had hoped that I could perhaps borrow some of your talent. I have a rather urgent need to speak with the queen of my people.
He lifts
Perhaps
a thick brow.
the ways of magic could be bent in such a way as to make that possible.
He sighs and shakes his head and says, no, the best way I could think of would involve someone that I know and have touched within the last week. That's definitely not the Queen of the Elves.
There would not be a way, such as the one with which we arrived here, in which I could perhaps be brought there.
I could not teleport you there because I have not personally been to the wood. I don't know of any locations to send you. To send us.
Frowns. I see.
That, and I only have one other capability of doing that, and that's to get me back to Horizon. Don't plan on being here for the rest of my days, you know.
He sort of smiles and says, yes, that would be dreadful.
Yes, speaking of which, how did that meeting with the High Druid go? What happened?
You know, looking behind him, not seeing the others arrive anytime soon, Aranas will sit down and relay basically the meeting to the superior.
Is there anything that Aranas wants to admit to, not say?
I don't think so.
Then, the rest of the group will arrive by the time Aranas finishes his tale, at which point Taraptus' face will flip from, surprise to anger to surprise again, and then basically by the gods, I'm not staying here for that long.
Aranas looks at him with sort of a, yeah, you're telling me.
And then, the rest of the group comes in.
My people can live for hundreds of years.
I am aware. I at least plan on living a century, if not two. Astrid is wandering around the campsite that you folks have made. You can see other groups, small, druids or, a few other outsiders gathered who have also, set up their camps here for the Conclave site. But this isn't really a primary gathering spot, it would seem. Astrid is patrolling around. The tent is partially open, and Taraptus and Aranas are apparently talking to each other in their tent. Oh, in his tent.
Well, Aurelia will rather impolitely wait way too close, making it very clear that she too wants to speak to Raptors at some point.
Okay.
Geráck will sit down somewhere in the camp.
Okay.
However, I wasn't on mute, but Jasmine will also just go over.
Okay.
Considering deeply about everything that's happened. And trying to somewhat apologize to her very hurting head.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Tempus will just sort of join along, make a few joking comments about Geráck, the Yellowhead, and say hello to Astrid, the beautiful golem.
She does not acknowledge it.
Oh my. Yeah.
Geráck will look for a comb somewhere.
Well, does he travel with one? One in his pack, maybe?
He does have a long beard, so probably.
Alright, then. I suppose you can successfully... You do not have to roll to find comb.
Alright. And
Also-
he will comb his beard.
Also, our hybrid connection with sheep is the only viable conduit. No, it's fading.
What? Why?
Yeah,
Getting
this
weak.
sound quality
The
is
quality is terrible.
Oh.
Well, it's not terrible, it's just reduced.
Yeah.
For me, it's terrible.
And now it fixed itself.
Oh, I wish.
I did nothing. I still take credit for it, though.
Well, perhaps we could rehost the call.
I could.
Yeah, right, because I remember how well that went the last time we tried that shit.
She was the one doing it, surely.
Yep.
I mean, if it makes you feel better, let's
It
do
would.
it, everyone. Teamwork, clap, clap. Yes, and it also reset our group video call timer, which is normally 4 hours. Yay!
Now it's
Because
actually-
we were approaching the limit on that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
well,
we're getting close to that 1 hour.
That's an hour and 37 minutes. Fuck you. Teraptus looks from Aranas and looks outside the partway opening of the tent, and then mage hands the rest of it the way open. Yes, Aurelia.
I assume that Aranas has told you about the meeting, yes?
Well, I was immensely curious about why the High Druid elected to speak with you lot instead of me, the emissary from Pertinax. Yes.
Good. Perhaps you would appreciate a change of topic then.
Excuse me?
There was something you agreed to do for me quite some time ago, and you've not come back to me since. I was wondering about its progress.
Me as Grimith, by the way, I'm happy that you remembered that. Teraptus, not happy. Teraptus, his eyes narrowed, then his eyes widened, then his face holders. No. Yeah. Yeah. So how'd the meeting with the High Druid go?
You have been trying to avoid me for quite some time now, and it is rather infuriating.
Impossible to avoid you. We are traveling
Exactly.
together.
Then I would suggest that you tell me what you found.
A wizard never avoids anyone. He says precisely what he means to, whatever he does.
Aurelia just stands there patiently with the kind of expression that says, I'm not going anywhere until I get something.
Lord Teraptus does continue. As a matter of fact, I'll even fucking continue it. I mean, I have... Alright, there have been times where I haven't looked out for your best interest, and quite frankly would rather you be dead. But we've changed. We have a growing relationship now. I don't want to kill you. You don't want to kill me. You see the foolishness in trying to intimidate me like one of those fool wizards from Horizon that put the city in your head, so to speak. Yes. Of course I did exactly what I told you that I would. I am a man of my word, so long as it fits in with the Archmage's designs, and this most certainly did, because you have aided the Archmage directly. You'll keep going while Aurelia's waiting patiently.
Aurelia is patient. It comes with the job. She will stand there until it's the next day if
Tempus
it's required.
pulls out his cards and some dice, finds a stump nearby, offers up. Anyone fancy a game? This might be a while.
And I have looked after the city of Newport for decades. Before that, I was a journeyman wizard working out of Horizon. I've done great service for the Archmage over the numerous decades of my life, and certainly you're sort of affiliated with the Archmage. I know you have your own interests, and you're a bit of a wild card, really, but you've done all right, at least by me. Maybe not some of my colleagues, but you at least aren't that bad. In part because I know what you want. Not to say that I'm trying to manipulate you or anything. Of course I would not, Aurelia. After all, you helped me get my position. I'm superior to Raptus now, in part because of all the great things that I did in Newport with your help. The entire chapter lodge is eliminated. Who did it? Well, obviously, you take most of the credit there, but I was the one who helped to organize affairs, and that is how Teraptus rose to the position of superior, and I really do like it Horizon more so than Newport. Just the feel of it. It was home for me for quite some time, and, well, that's why, most understandably, I am very delighted to have been part of the group that made it all a possibility. You understand, Aurelia? We took care of the Black Thing together, and that's really what Pertinax wants in the grand scheme of things. So you've done all right, Aurelia. It's good. I approve. He, nods knowingly, finally saying this piece as if that should resolve the matter.
I believe you were about to tell me more about what you found out.
Oh, right, that little thing, right, he looks very nervous. He's sitting in his tent and basically Aurelia's blocking the way, so Aurelia gets the full treat of Teraptus looking extremely nervous. Right, step inside the tent, will you?
Aurelia will step in, close the flap behind her. Looking ever so slightly troubled herself now.
Teraptus mumbles something, and then, no more sounds come from the tent, at least from those outside.
No.
I was not aware that whatever you found out requires it to stay a secret.
Well, it's something that was between us, so I thought just as a matter of courtesy that I wouldn't have you can tell them on your own. So what was it that I promised you there was, remind me?
You would investigate with your own means, your whatever magical means you possess, what exactly caused the things I saw in Horizon. Or rather, who might have caused them. You said it might have been the city itself, which seems unlikely to me, although, what do I know?
Yes, well, my answer, it was, magic, it's incredibly fickle. It was, unclear. I couldn't describe, and after, of course, putting my hand on you, that's what enables the magic, and I looked into it, and I didn't get a conclusive answer back. So...
A non-conclusive answer would not make you nervous.
Yes. Right, he, cannot look Aurelia in the eye. Which, has happened before, whenever Aurelia went to speak with Teraptus alone, in the one-on-one. But he usually does not look, so nervous. Particularly not in front of someone that he kinda sorta wants to kill. He has his good days. Yes, someone has taken a personal interest in you, Aurelia, and I don't mean the city, and I don't mean Pertinax. Someone is looking after you, or looking for you. And I don't know who. I caught a brief glimpse of power, and I immediately severed the connection. I think I might have attracted it, whatever it was, for that time. I'm not entirely sure, but whatever it was bigger than me. And I want nothing to do with it.
What does that mean for me?
It means that someone is so interested in you that... Who all have you come into contact with recently, Aurelia? Typically, my magic works with people that I can rub up against, touch. It's a personal connection that I have to have. But there are more powerful individuals than myself who either don't need to touch someone recently or don't need to do it at all. There's items that can assist in that process. So, you should think very carefully of who would want to keep track of you and who you are and what you've done. Someone bigger than me.
There are many options, none of which I wish to consider.
You are special, Aurelia. I have never heard, before or since, someone who managed to spite the Black Fang as you did. Someone who not only spited them, but survived it, and then removed them from one of the 7 major cities in the entire Imperium. You are amazing, or at least your talents are. And there are those who are highly interested in them, perhaps coveting them. Your talents, your gifts, are in part why the Archmage tolerates you, even after whom you have killed in your lifetime. I am not surprised that there is someone else who is interested in what you can do. If you've made an enemy, that could be it. I'm sure you have a number, but this is not among the Archmage.
And you are unwilling to investigate further?
Absolutely unwilling. Will not. I've grown to like you, Aurelia, but I would not risk my life for you.
I understand.
I have other service to do for the Archmage, part of which has me in here, in this hell, in this god-forsaken place that no one in their right mind should be, out of a desire for duty. That only extends so far. He trembles, visibly. He looked this distraught back when the Black Fang was, of course, putting the vice to Newport. But he is noticeably cheered up since then, until now.
Well, thank you, Lord Teraptus, for finally telling me, and now I wish that you hadn't, so...
He sighs. I, of course, want to protect you from that, but given who you are, I understand that you'd want to know. You have lived a life that has had many secrets, Aurelia.
You do not need to tell me that, I know. But, yes, thank you.
You are welcome, and I am sorry that, well, for what I learned.
She will hesitate a moment, nod, and then exit the tent again, and essentially just wander past everyone playing outside, not really paying them any mind, and she'll essentially just wander, essentially, out into the forest, trusting that whatever has been said about strays who get lost in the forest eventually being guided back is in fact true.
Alright, well,
that would
starters,
be awkward.
You kids can stop your typing. You have made an error pop up on my end, and I am going to restart the server. 2, Teraptus' tent is going to remain silent. And 3, I am so glad Aurelia has chosen to do this, sheep.
I expected as much.
Don't split the party!
Hey, I wandered off too already.
I'm going to restart the
I guess
server.
you did.
Alright, the server is back online.
Oh, great. We've got an existential Manaki.
That
is Manaki. Okay.
Let's see what happens to Aurelia of the
Am I-
Darkwood.
Am I on the internet, or is the internet on me?
Okay.
My.
So the group, either plays their card games, or grooms the beard, or sits contemplatively, or worries about family, or wanders off into the wildwood without an escort. But, if whatever this thing holds true, right, she'll just be able to find her way back. Yes. So, tell me more about this game that Tempus wants to play.
Tempus is playing a form of poker that was made in... I actually now can't remember the dialogue because it's all practically disappeared. Newfound poker.
Okay.
In the place of Newfound. But it plays with Drakenhall rules. So you draw 2 cards face down. You roll the dice. You draw that many cards face up. 2 dice, 6-sided. And you then need to build a set based on what the cards face down. You don't know what the face down cards are. So you're doing a blind gamble. And then after the first roll, you start adding face down cards to the middle of the pile and try to decide how many of each set. So you're starting to sort of bluff one another to find out you have the better set than the other person. Yet neither of you knows what cards you have until you finalize the bets, and then you look up and then you try and you pull your face down cards, and then you start bluffing at each other, and that's how it's done.
Okay.
Of course, somehow you managed to get 13 on 2 6-sided die.
Yes.
That is the power of Tempus's, ever so slightly cheaty dice.
Yeah, they came out when they're not supposed to, so something magical is messed up with his cheaty dice that are finely balanced, and somehow, looking at them, a 6-sided die has 6, and then all of a sudden, on one of the sides it has 7. You flip it around, it's a 6 again, and you flip it around, it's a 7. So he started pulling out parchment and then figuring out if the magic has non-Euclidean geometry effects.
Jasmine does not look particularly pleased with the fact that the GTE dice were used against her.
Alright. Tempus is not pleased with the fact that his dice are now son of a bitch. What is this?
Tempus is voicing his discontent because these dice cost him a good 100 gold.
Back in the day, that's why he had to take that job to go through the wildwood. Surely. Shit. All right. We can do some in-character focus here then, as the party is split up and considering things. What's going through Geráck's mind as he's grooming his beard?
Well, he wants to speak with Aranas about this quest, so to speak. Other than that, he's just irritated that there's so much stuff in his beard. And
what's going through Aranas' mind?
He wants to go home. He's not been home for years, and now suddenly this prospect comes that he may never go home at all. That he should take his heritage, his people, his faith, and throw it all to the side to stay as basically a lapdog, a sacrifice, a courtly plaything to tease his mother. That would be his destiny. That would be the great deed with which his life would be spent, so to speak. And he's not really happy with that. He does not like the idea of being sort of a plaything for anyone.
His mom has plenty of those.
Yeah. And he kind of left that whole thing to not have that fate. He's also thinking that, maybe out of desperation, that if he could just get in contact with home, maybe, the High Druid is powerful, but the elves have many powerful wizards and powerful sorcerers as well. Perhaps they could do a ritual with the orb that could do similar things, but not have this ridiculous price to it.
But so he would be unwilling to sacrifice himself for the greater good.
Well, that would not be it, would it? It would not be for the greater good. It would be because this High Druid desires it, and because she's willing, presumably to doom the world if she does not get it.
Perhaps Aranas can try negotiating.
He also does not really want to deliver the Orb of Storms to her, of all people. He would basically be banished outright for, after he has said that he would try, perhaps in the future, to recover it for the elves.
Yes, he did make
And,
that statement to
and
a
then
representative
to give
of the
it
elf
to
queen.
the rivals? No, that seems unthinkable. And since the elves might have a similar possibility, it would be a shame not to hear them out.